So I'm going to do some demos of this Traynor YBA-1A, the Bassmaster Mark II. Basically gone through, recapped it, cleaned it up, got it ready to go. And I'm going to do some demo tones so you can hear what this sounds like. So the first one I'm doing is just straight into the front of the amp. I'm on channel 1 right now on the top input. I've got this Weber Lite 100 watt attenuator connected to the amp, but I've got it in bypass mode right now. So this is just the full amplifier, no attenuation yet, just to get a sense of kind of the clean sound. And I'm also going to show this with some pedals, just so you can hear what it sounds like with pedals running into the front too. Okay, so this is channel 1. I've got the volume, because it's only going to use volume 1. It's at about 9 o'clock right now. Everything else is straight up at noon, so not really any adjustment on the EQ. Percussive, very responsive. I could bring it up, but it's going to start to get a little uncomfortable. Volume, it's got a lot of headroom with 90 watts. Even with a bridge pickup, still actually quite clean. Okay, so that's the first channel on the top. Let's pop it over to the bottom. Input on channel 1, I'm going to bring the volume down because I think this one's a little louder. There we go. So this is the bottom input on channel 1. It's a lot brighter. Personally, I like this one a little bit more. I'm actually going to bring the highs back because it's just a little bit too bright. Just at 9 o'clock or 3 out of 10. Actually, it's 1.5 out of 10. So it'll go a lot louder than this. And this is with a Marshall, what was this, 1960A lead cab. Lots of volume, lots of push. Very clean. Okay, so let's switch over to the second channel. So this is the top input on the second channel. I'm going to put the volume at the same spot, 9 o'clock. I'll re-center the EQ. And this one's bright. A lot more gain. And I think this is supposed to be the guitar channel. It's loud, it's hard. So I'm actually going to back it off a bit. Here it starts to start to clip just a tiny bit, but it's got tons of headroom. That high end is really hard. Should we use the expander and bring the highs down even more? Soften it. it kicks on that second channel quite a bit. So we're going to go to the bottom input. This is going to be even more. I'll start with it at 9 o'clock, everything at noon, but it's going to be bright. So here we go. Whoa! That's a lot. I'm going to back it off. We're going to stop. Again, it's the Strat. Try to put it in a more manageable place. So backing off the highs, backing off the volume a little bit. It's stupidly loud. Again, this is with a Strat. I'm not even using a Les Paul yet. I try to back it off to something a bit more reasonable. It's still hard on the top, but so, I mean, kind of getting to know this with this amp, knowing the difference between the first and the second channel, that's going to be important later when I jump the channels and I run both at the same time. So you can kind of get an idea of like which one's giving you more bright and which one's giving you a bit more like warm within the tone. So I'm going to go back to the first channel, put it on standby, and I'm going to show how this thing responds to some pedals. So let's put everything back to 0, or at least neutral. I've got a few pedals here. I've got a little Klon Centaur clone. I've got a Maxon tube screamer, and I've got a Wampler Plexi drive. It's the Deluxe one, so it's also got a boost in it. And I'm going to show each of them just so you can hear how the amp responds to some pedals in the front. So here's my pedal board line. I'm going in the bottom input on channel number 1. At least for me, this is kind of my preference tonally. It's a bit more neutral. If you wanted something that kicks a little bit more or cuts a little bit more, you could go with one of the second channel lines. But at least for this demo, I'm just going to use the bottom input on channel 1. So let's turn it on. Here's my tone. Again, everything neutral. There's that nice warm channel 1 sound. And I can actually run this a little hotter after dealing with channel 2. So that to me is a pretty nice, kind of usable, clean tone. I can get a lot of bright and dark just using the pickups. So let's go to the pedals. I'm going to kick the Klon Clone in. We're going to want it to kick just a little harder than that. Again, this is still without any attenuation, just pedal straight in. But it's tough to do just with the amp itself. Just this nice kind of singing difference. I'll back the input out just a bit. Maybe just a touch more gain. So I've now got the Maxon OD808 plugged into the front. I've got that same clean tone, we'll hear that in a second, as what I used with the Klon. And I've got the Maxon set up, not for like a high gainy saturation type of thing, but just like a nice push in the front of the amp. So let's hear what that sounds like. So this is again the clean tone. Bring it up a bit. Okay, so here's the OD808. That's the neck pickup. Here's the bridge. It's got a nice bit of bark. Okay, so that's the OD808. Let's do one more. So the last pedal I'm going to demo before we go to the Attenuator is a Wampler Plexi Drive Deluxe. So this is kind of more like an amp in the box type of thing. It's definitely a Plexi sound. I mean, from the name, duh. I've got it set kind of how I like it for a really hard pushed Marshall-y type of tone. So let's hear the clean sound again. Again, not terribly loud in the room, but still got a lot of volume. Let's kick the Plexi in. We'll see how loud it is. It's a little bit dark in the mids. Pop those up a bit. That's actually with the gain cranked. I'm going to bring the gain back just a little bit. So again, great pedal platform, running things. I'm going to push the boost on, so we're going to get even more gain. Unfortunately, it's a Strat, so it's not noise canceling. I'll switch to the Les Paul in a bit, but so there's almost kind of high gain territory with it. This is the Strat. And volume-wise, this is still actually pretty manageable. Push it harder. Tons of gain on tap with that with the Wampler pedal, but the YBA takes it quite nicely. Okay, welcome back. We are still checking out this Traynor YBA-1A Bassmaster Mark II, And now we're going to start using the attenuator and see what this thing can do. So I'm actually going to start with pushing channel 1. So I'm not jumping the amp yet. I'm not jumping the 2 channels. I will do that in a little bit. So I've got the attenuator engaged. We're on standby. Let's bring this in. So I'm going to bring the amp in at that same volume level that I was using before with the Strat. Actually, let's do it without the attenuation first. Lower input for channel 1. Nice kind of high headroom. Clean tone. That's not really what we want to check out here. So I'm going to bring the attenuator back in. This particular attenuator, we've got control for both the low mids or the low to mids, and then the mids to highs. So we're going to bring both of those up just a little bit and really push the front. So this is with the amp volume at about 8 out of 10. Bring the attenuation up. You can hear we're starting to get a little bit more saturation from the amp, a little bit overdrive from the power section. That's like really manageable volume-wise. Start to bring it up a little bit. Now, again, just to be clear as well, I'm running this on the low range of the attenuator. If you wanted a bit more push from the amp, like more volume from the amp, even though we're running this saturated tone, you could run it on the high setting and then get a little bit more volume for stage purposes. But this is really manageable. I talked before about the clean channel running before. It was hard. It was harsh. This is pretty nice. I'm going to back the lows off a bit and push the highs up a bit further. Okay, so it's not like super duper saturated. There's a nice bit of overdrive in this. Very touch responsive. Let's really push it. So this is up to 10, or basically as high as it'll go. Just on the one side. So I'm not even jumping the amp yet. Highs are a little harsh now. Bring them back a bit, maybe bring the lows up. We can actually bring the highs down on the amp. Like I haven't really been doing much EQ on this in the front. Rhythm tone. Channel. Let's switch back over to the second channel. We're going to do the same thing. Actually, I'll leave the attenuator exactly where it is. We'll use the higher sensitivity, the bottom input on channel 2. I've got all the volumes down. I'm going to leave the settings where they are. We'll bring the amp back in. And let's bring the channel in up to, this is about 8. Again, lots of bark. Again, this is the brighter of the 2 channels, so we're not going to get quite as much low grunt just with the second channel on its own. Even if I dime the volume, we I've actually got the low mids favored in the attenuation. I could even push the lows up just a bit. And it kind of brings a little bit of it back, but it's still pretty thin. Cuts really nicely. That's actually a really, really usable tone. If I switch to the neck, not a sweeter lead tone. Yeah, very martially. Great sound. Yeah, so let's now look at jumping the amp. I've got a jumper cable here. I'm going to switch my input, and I'm going to run in the lower input on channel. Actually, I'm going to do that just to make this a bit easier. I'm going to run in the high sensitivity input on channel 1, and then we're going to jump across like so. Okay, that should be good. Let's bring both of the channels down. Let's neutralize everything. And I'm going to reset my attenuator as well. Now, first of all, I'm going to do this jumped without the attenuator, just for a bit of reference, because I haven't shown that yet. So here's the amp. No attenuation, channels jumped. We'll bring both of them in. And it gets loud very quickly. That's just barely coming off of 0, and it's already like filling the room. But again, there's tons of headroom. It's not really distorting at all. There's maybe just a touch of clip maybe in the speaker, but not from the amp. Okay, so that's the jumped channel, or the jumped channels without any attenuation. It's not a bad tone, but it's got so much power behind it that it's difficult to use, at least in my opinion. So let's bring the attenuator back in. So we got it off. We'll bring it up slightly. And let's start to push the channels. So I'm going to put both of them at noon. Bring the attenuation to what's nice is that we do have the lows and the mids kind of balanced, so you can kind of contour the tone, what you want coming through it there, as well as with the amp itself. So again, nice grindy. A nice tone, but I like it to be a bit thicker. So I might bring the lows up a bit more. Again, you can always use the neck pickup. Now this is where having both channels available allows us to tweak things a bit more. I'm going to push the first channel, kind of the darker channel, a little harder. Low, mid, kind of sizzly. Well, that wouldn't be sizzly, it'd be the high. A bit buzzier. let's go with the high sensitivity of the second channel. I can get it to click in. There we go. All right, let's try that. Now at 3 o'clock, we got the channels jumped. I got the attenuator in. The lows are a little higher. Still really nice and bright. Really nice singing overdrive. As high as it'll go. We've got both channels cranked. I'm going to back this up just a little bit on the attenuator. It's really starting to grind. And I find at this point, it's almost too much. It starts to get a bit nasty. You can smooth it out a bit with some control. We're almost getting into like fuzz territory. So I think this will be the last test that I do. This is the YBA, both channels jumped. I've got them both at about 3 o'clock for their volumes. I'll zero my EQ on the amp. I got the attenuator engaged, the same setting I had just a bit ago, and now I've got the Maxon OD808 kind of tube screamery type of thing in the front end. So here it is without the pedal. Just a little bit. Trying to get it a bit more manageable. Okay. So now I'm going to put the TS in front of it, or the OD808. So, great singing. Sustaining lead tone, very much that kind of Eric Johnson-y violin type of thing. Okay, so that's just the tube screamer pushing the front end of this. It's not really contributing all that much like dirt to the sound. It's just pushing the amp harder. You can make it a little bit granular. I don't really need it. That's still pretty loud in the room. There's a lot of attenuation on this. We could actually get quite a bit louder if we needed to. We could get a lot quieter if we wanted to. If I bring that back, try to balance the two control knobs. I can almost talk over that. Same amount of saturation. So even with just like a single boost or like a TS type of pedal, with the amp and the attenuator, you're getting a pretty wide range of tones that you can go between. I mean, obviously depending on how you set it up, but it'll do quite a bit. Okay, so I think that's going to be it for this demo. Lots of tones, lots of sounds, lots of power if you want it. But with the attenuator, you can get just about bedroom level with that same amount of saturation. All right, that's it.